So I've got to tell you, I get about 5 pitches per day across the podcast, five, maybe 6 across all the podcasts that we produce for clients and for ourselves. And they open the same way, Seth. Hey, I love what you're doing with the really insightful content about name a podcast here, sometimes in different font. I love the episode with name of episode here, often in different font. I'd like to pitch me or my CEO, and it's like auto delete, man. So the pitch.
I look, I see, most of the time I don't even look. I'm like, if it looks like that and there's stuff that's bolded or misformatted, I'm like, that's a delete.
What? So the pitch. The pitch has got to be the first thing, the first hook. How do you coach wannabe podcast guests to get the pitch across in a way that at least you
actually listen to the podcast before you go into it's not that hard. Don't say I listen to this podcast and then say something generic. Like, actually listen to the podcast and say, hey, look, I need, you need to have something tangible saying, this guy said something so quirky on your show and it really resonated with me. Insert the quirky statement and then go from there. And then say, hey, I have X amount of experience in this here, and then always include, your one pager, which is like multiple pages, but like your press kit saying, here's everything you need to know about me right here.
I'm going to give you a cheat code for the listen to the podcast. If you check it out on Apple Podcasts, go into the transcript, which is auto-generated, block copy the transcript, go into the free version of ChatGPT. I don't care, but ask it to give you the magical soundbite that you listen to.
Or use Cast Magic even. I use Cast Magic.
Magic's gold, yeah.
I use Cast Magic. I use Opus Clip. I use all those tools because they're gold. They're gold. But you have to plan out you don't have to write a unique pitch every single time. You need to customize your form pitch so that it's customized for each one. But go in there and say, like, especially on something like Podmatch. Like I recently on Podmatch, I had a guy say, I want to be on your show. Dead silence. That was all he wrote. Then I had people write me books. I'm like, all right, that's on the opposite side. I'm not going to read your book.
Too much reading.
I put it in ChatGPT to see if it's interesting. So they summarize this in like 2 sentences. What's this guy all about? Because if they're on Podmatch and they're pitching themselves, I have a 90-10 rule. And like I joked, when we talked last time, I think it was, I joked it's really 99-1 rule, where it's like 90% of the time, if you're a PR firm pitching your client, you're out. I'm not even going to consider you. And then every once in a while, 10% you get in because you worked hard on your pitch and you somehow got me to read your pitch and it sounded interesting. I want to have them on. That flips to be 90% chance of getting on if you write me your pitch and it's for you, and 10% if you just put things in bold and do stupid stuff that annoys me. And
break the pattern. You know what? Yeah. Be the blue marble in the bowl of red marbles. Do something.
Good analogy.
Yeah. So let's say you got past the pitch and you get on the show. You actually coach people on how to be a better guest. What does that mean? What do you take them through?
That means don't go on and not be prepared. Don't go on and not you don't have to have a fancy microphone. Like, honestly, I'm actually pretty impressed with the MacBook in-app in Mac, literally, microphones. They're decent enough. If you're going to do a podcast guesting a lot, invest in a nice microphone. They're $100. But wear headphones, earbuds, something so it doesn't go through your computer speakers back in your microphone and do that like reverb where the host hears themselves. Like echo cancellation is easy, but it dulls down the quality.
Yes, because it's a gate on the mic, and that's what non-tech people don't understand. It helps. It's like water resistant. It ain't waterproof.
No, and you still get some little residuals in there, and it's like it just makes for bad audio. And then worse is when you're watching the video, which that's a whole other topic for a different day. But the video, when you do the audio, and there's like little reverb in it, it's awful. You can't listen to it.
So let's say I want to go on the podcast. Of course, I have a purpose. I want people to get to know me, and I want to talk about XYZ. But the host starts talking about ABC. How do I get it to XYZ? Do I answer the ABC, or do I just launch into the XYZ? How do I handle that?
when you're the guest, you kind of have to know what you're getting into when you're going on that show. If the show's like Entrepreneur's Enigma, I'm not talking about your latest discovery necessarily. I'm talking about your journey. So go in there prepared to talk about your journey. And yeah, you might get to your discovery. You might get to your pitch or, hey, where can people find you online and all that stuff. But not always. And you're on there because it's reps. You're doing your reps. You're getting out there. You're doing not every podcast is going to be perfect. Like it's just now I'm thinking I did a podcast today. And then at the very end, we talked about what the guy did out the whole podcast. It was great. But I forgot to say, where do you hang out the most online? Okay, I ask every single time. I just realized I didn't ask him that. Not a big deal. The guy's a scientist. He's probably not hanging out online. He's probably in the lab with the pipers, piping things and blowing things up. Yeah. So I'm not that worried, and I'll put his link in the show notes. It will be fine. But be prepared. Both sides of the coin, podcaster and podcast guest or podcastee, if you want to be like, cute about it. And the idea is that if the more you're prepared for the show, like actually listen to a few episodes, like it works.
Get the cadence of the host.
You can also call back to really impress the host. You can say, hey, I know you had so-and-so on. I loved that episode. So even, pet his ego or his or her or their ego on the show and say, I know them. They're fantastic. And this is how we work together. Call back. And that helps the podcaster have a callback to an earlier show too. Help the podcaster out as much as don't overhelp. But if there's a way you can help.
So I know one of the most important things as a guest is that I have stories to tell rather than just information, blah, blah. Stories that I can unfold. How do I tell us? Because boring stories are really boring.
They're worse than the blah, blah.
Right.
Honestly.
If it's the onion on the belt story from Grandpa Simpson, I'm not, I have an onion on my belt. I'm not going to listen to
that's a good Simpson.
I've practiced. I do a wicked crusty, but I won't do it here.
Oh, there you go. But literally, it's practice your story before the show. Talk to your dog or your cat. My cat usually will say, screw you and run off. But the dog will sit there and listen to you intently, not understand a word you're saying, but will just like look at you.
Well, just like a listener thinking it's going to be fed. The listener, that's a great metaphor because the listener's waiting to be fed something.
Yeah, they want a story and practice the story. It doesn't have to be perfect when you go off onto the show. You're going to ramble. It's up to the host to kind of rein you in. But have stuff in your arsenal to pull out when you need it if the guy asks you a question. And never ask for the questions ahead of time. Just no. I hate when people ask for the questions ahead of time. I'm like, if you listen to my show, number one, there's the same 3 questions every single show. It's a chew the fat for 15 minutes and we ask you 3 questions. So that's number one. Number two is former journalist. Never give the questions ahead of time because you don't want scripted answers. I always say I'm not Diane Sawyer. I'm not Barbara Walters. God bless her soul. May she rest in peace. But like, it's not hard-hitting journalism here, but it's like, I don't want you to scripted where you're reading like this in that monotone voice. I want you to come off genuine. It's good. It's better for the whole show in general.
Okay. Last question. After I've been on the show, did a kick-ass job. It was a great interview. I'm done, right? I don't have to do anything else. When that thing publishes, I expect the podcast to just make me famous. I don't have to do any work whatsoever, right? I just ride the wave that comes in.
I know you're joking, but no. Get the clips from if the podcaster put clips out, get the clips out. If they're willing to give you the raw file, go into Opus Clip and make up your own clips. If they give you clips to use and say, hey, can you use these? Great, because they did the work for you. But share it out because it's free press for you. Use it. Thank the podcaster for having you on. Yeah. Thank him for having you on, and you had a great time, even if it sucked. Thank the podcaster. If it sucks so bad that you can't share it, then you don't share it. But usually, the podcaster might be green too, and then it's kind of a little rough. Who cares? It's good. Build in public.
Is it worth it, Seth, all that work to be a guest on all these different podcasts?
Yes.
I mean, Some of them get 50 listeners. Some don't get that. Some get 500. Some get 10,000. But is it really worth it to get in there?
Practice makes perfect. Even those guys who are just starting off, you're helping them get started. And then they might become the next Joe Rogan they won't. I'm not being delusional. They're not going to be the next Joe Rogan. Not even delusional, but they're going to be the next whatever podcast. They're going to be the next Doug with his podcast. With a few thousand listeners or whatever that, does a good job of getting out. I mean, honestly, if you get 30 listeners that are engaged in your show, that's fantastic.
That's a good room.
That's a great room. 30 people listening to your show, engaging with your content, sharing your content. That's all you need. People are like, I want to be the next Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was a Fear Factor. He ran Fear Factor. He had a following before he went into podcasting. He brought his following into the podcast. Also, it's a 4-hour podcast. I can't listen to that.
I can't do that.
That's for another day. It's for another day. We'll have another chit chat, and we'll talk about that. Don't do 4-hour podcasts.
Don't ever do it.
It's worse than the Sunday Times.
Yeah. We'll put it all. It's all in the show notes here on the video. But Seth, how do people, if they want to work with you, how do they get in touch with you?
And then if you can find me. I'm literally prolific all over the place. But social.sethgoldstein.me has all my links. So awesome. Podcastmastery.coach and social.sethgoldstein.me. I almost forgot it there for a second.
If you're gonna be a guest, be a good guest.
Exactly. Put the reps in. You'll get better each time.
Thanks for your time, man.
You're the best, bud.